Welcome back, Seekers of Truth. Tonight, the signal runs wild with your host, Dave, and
your host, Ant-Man. And tonight, it's all about Halloween and the spookiness and how it began. So, Dave, before we get into the podcast, ever wanted to have a studio-like podcast room like the one behind me?
For sure, man. It'd always be nice to have a quieter space for recording our podcast.
But for just $5 a month on Patreon, you all can help us on that journey. And in the background, it may not be like this, but it would be like an alien, plot figure right here, or history stuff over here, all about that. Exactly. But
and making good entertainment for you, fellow people.
But with that being said, let's get on with the show.
The shadows of our ancestors. Long before cities lit up the night, before electricity, before technology, our ancestors lived in a world of shadows. When the sun went down, the world transformed. Forests became walls of blackness. The sky stretched out in impossible silence. And every sound, every rustle, every flicker of light became a question.
And in that darkness, fear was born. Fear of what they could not see. Fear of what they could not explain. They believed the dead could walk among the living during certain nights of the year. Ghosts, ancestors, and spirits slipping through a thinning veil between worlds. What we call Halloween, they called survival.
They feared demons too. Not horned creatures of story, but invisible forces that could strike without warning. Sickness that spread like curses. Voices in the mind. Madness that turned friend against friend. To them, these weren't medical mysteries. They were spiritual attacks.
Then there were the witches, men and women who were said to command unseen powers, powers that bent nature itself. Every village had whispers, every fire had shadows, and every unexplained death needed a culprit. In the dark, superstition thrived. Fear gave shape to enemies.
But there's another fear, older, stranger. The sky itself. Imagine standing in a world with no city lights, no pollution, no noise. Above you, the heavens were terrifyingly clear. Stars burned so bright they almost felt alive, and every once in a while, strange lights moved against them, flickering, dancing, shifting in ways the stars never should.
Were they gods, or were they spirits? Or were they something else? Something not of this world? Maybe our ancestors weren't just imagining demons in the dark. Maybe they were witnessing the first signs of what they now call aliens, visitors, beings crossing the veil, just as ghosts were said to do.
Every mask, every ritual, every prayer whispered into the night was a shield, a defense against what they didn't understand. But here's the truth. Our ancestors weren't just afraid of what they knew. They were afraid of the unknown itself, of this that stared back.
And maybe they weren't wrong to be afraid. And that, folks, is almost kind of how our ancestors felt of the beginning of how Halloween started/began.
Furthermore, what was Samhain? Samhain was an ancient Celtic festival marking the end of the harvest season and the beginning of the dark half of the year. It fell around October 31st to November 1st, a liminal time. So when day and night, summer and winter, life and death were believed to, in a sense, blur.
That's right, Dave. The Celts believed that during Samhain, the veil between the living and the dead grew thin. Spirits of ancestors could return to the world of the living, wandering freely. Fires were lit on hilltops to guide friendly spirits home and to ward off darker ones. So, that right there almost seems like from Coco. Remember the movie Coco?
More like the tradition of a people, not specifically the movie Coco, but yeah, I get what you're talking about.
Yeah, how in the movie they Land of the Dead and all
I think
that.
it's literally called
They
the Day
went,
of the Dead in that culture.
yeah, that. Is it? But is that different between Halloween, or were they kind of like the same, or is it just completely different?
So it's apparently like a holiday that was traditionally celebrated on November 1st and 2nd, though other days such as October 31st or November 6th may also have been included depending on the like locality. The multi-day holiday involves like family gatherings, friends to pay respects and members who have died, pretty much. The origins are
Okay.
pretty interesting. So, the Day of the Dead, right? Or, as in this culture, Dia de los Muertos, lie within like ancient Aztec and other Mesoamerican rituals honoring the dead, which were later blended with Catholicism by Spanish colonizers in like the 16th century. I think that's pretty interesting. That's kind of wild though, because the Aztecs, I know they were known for like a lot of rituals, like human sacrifice. So that's pretty crazy, dog.
Yeah. No.
In the
Fully.
Aztec tradition, it's kind of wild because it focused on the goddess. That's really hard to pronounce. Mictecaccihuatl. I definitely butchered that. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh.
And was believed that souls could return from the underworld, leading to the creation of the month-long festivities to welcome them. Yeah, pretty insane, bro. Oh,
Indeed.
that's interesting. But eventually it gets like combined as indigenous practices, right, with Catholic observances of All Saints Day and All Souls Day. Oh, All Saints Day, also known as
Oh.
All Hallows Day.
Yeah, that's what they used to call it. Christian traditions called it All Hallows Eve. But now what we
Feast of All Hallows, the solemnity of All Saints, and All Hallowmas.
Yeah, now we just tend to call it Halloween just to make the word better and more easy to say. Try saying All Hallows Eve 10 times fast. That's not gonna
Yeah,
go
that's
well.
pretty well, bro. Alright, well, bro.
Hey, so should we get into a conversation about why we started wearing costumes? Like, what happened there?
I don't know, man. Pretty interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what. It began 2,000 years ago with the Celts and the night they called Samhain, a night when the veil between the worlds was thin, when spirits could walk among the living. They weren't just costumes for fun, they wore armor. The Celts wore animal skins, painted faces, and disgusting disguises, all to trick the dead, to blend in with the wandering spirits. If they looked at one of them, maybe you wouldn't be dragged into the darkness.
Very interesting.
So our ancestors were basically just petrified and terrified of the night that they needed to disguise themselves, if you will. Basically, they needed
People wore
to.
disguises.
They needed to.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Needed to conceal
Is that
themselves.
where cannibalism comes from? No. It
Is there
can't
a
be.
cannibalism comes from?
It can't
Nah,
be.
bro, that's wild. No, cannibalism comes from being
Just
crazy in the brain, in the membrane, bro. That's just crazy.
like have
No,
you ever
wild.
seen the Texas Chainsaw? Any of those movies?
Yeah, I have. The one that I'm surprised that there is actually a case where a dude was literally wearing people's faces. That's a whole new level of crazy, bro.
Yeah, that's
actually sick.
exactly what no, I'm just kidding. That's not what our ancestors did, but I don't know. At first when I was reading about that, I was like, that's kind of what Leatherface did, but that's completely different. He was just a serial killer and there's no words for him. He was just out of his absolute mind. But I can't believe I did not know that was based on a true story though. That movie, that's crazy. Imagine watching a horror movie and witnessing that what happened in Texas all those years ago actually happened.
Yeah, that's just wild. There's actually I wonder if there's any like biblical connection between cannibalism and like the disease that you get from actually eating people's flesh. I mean, I know this is a really weird topic, but I'm just wondering, man, because apparently there is a disease that's like associated with cannibalism. It's called Kuru. It's a fatal prion disease that spreads through the consumption of human brain tissue. Yeah, it's disgusting.
What?
But it was also a practice that was part of a ritualistic cannibalism of the four people in New Guinea. Kuru causes symptoms like loss of coordination, difficulty swallowing, and dementia, which is pretty crazy. Not gonna lie, that's pretty wild. I mean, I'd never look at somebody and be like, that looks tasty. Like, that's disgusting. Like,
well, now, okay, well, let's see. Now we gotta talk about like survival wise. Like, what would you do in the situation if you were stranded in the middle of nowhere with whomever it may be, whether it be me
die of starvation?
Someone else.
Die
But
of starvation?
I'm not saying you would be the one to kill them. I'm saying if it was like me to like die by natural causes or just by hunger, really, you know what I mean? But you were still alive. You would just go ahead and go with me. You wouldn't try to find a way out.
I wouldn't eat you, if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't just eat somebody. I'm sorry. I'd rather eat. I mean, bro, survival is, you can just eat bugs, bro. Like almost every part of the globe, unless it's winter.
Survival of the fittest.
There's not a whole lot. Yeah, quite literally, bro. Just eat some bugs, bro. Like you'll be alright.
Yeah, but then there's certain things in the woods that can potentially, if you were to eat, wouldn't it like kill you in the long run?
So like, I think there are like certain ones, but let's be real here.
Yeah, you're right. If you
know for sure that something is poisonous, you're not gonna pick it up and be like, oh, finally a meal, and eat it. Like you're not doing that, bro.
Well, that too. But
like you can eat a grasshopper, right?
Yeah.
Or a worm.
Well, you can.
Now worms are disgusting, and I probably would not want to eat a worm.
Oh yeah. I mean, you.
What'd you say?
Well, I don't know if I would eat it raw. I would probably would.
No. You're not gonna eat it raw. Nah, I ain't about that, bro. I ain't putting no raw bug in my mouth. Sorry.
No. Dude, it really sucks eating flies though, cause let me tell you. Let's go through a whole story that happened to me on a bike ride. The bike ride incident. No, I'm just kidding. No, for real. I'm trying to bike up this hill. It's very steep, but I'm just like, no, I will do it. I don't want to be a, what they call pussy and get off my bike and walk it up the hill. I'm gonna do it. I will have strength, and as I'm doing it, I'm like heavily bleeding and stuff, you know what I mean, how you usually do. But then all of a sudden I stopped coughing my ass off. I was coughing my ass off because all of a sudden I had to get off the bike because some fly decided to shoot into my esophagus like a bullet. So like, amazing, eating flies is like, it's, I don't know, it messes with your throat, dude. Like, dog.
Yeah, no, because you're eating a bug on accident. I've had that happen plenty of times. Like one time I accidentally almost drank a fly. It landed in my seasonal Mike's Hard lemonade, and it was a blueberry lime. That's a seasonal one, and it's so good. Oh man. And I had been drinking it. It was about halfway, and then I stopped sipping for a little bit, and I didn't know, but this fly literally, I guess, tried to go in there and freaking fell in it and died in my freaking in the drink, and I didn't know, and I just picked it up and was like, yep, and just started drinking it. And bro, I was like, oh, what's this weird thing on my tongue? And then I was like, so I thought it was, probably just some food left over from in my mouth. And it just broke loose from my teeth or something, right? Nah, bro. I bit down. I was like, ugh, what is that? And then I spit it out, and there was a dead fly. And I was like, oh, that's disgusting.
Oh, God.
It was one of those really big, like, shiny-ish green ones, Like, they're called, like, horse flies or deer flies or something like that. Ugh.
Dude.
That's so disgusting. Ugh.
Yeah,
and I bit it, too. I didn't bite it too hard, though.
I've had flies that gone into my drinks before too. I would have like a coffee, on standby, just on my bedside, and then I went to go grab it, and then for some reason half my bedside had like flies on the wall. It was on the side of my bed. It was all over the cup and in the drink. I was like, where the fuck did this come from? Immediately ran upstairs and grabbed the ant spray or whatever. Oh yeah, never mind, it was ants, it wasn't flies, it was a bunch of ants that summoned into my coffee. Like, bro. Yeah, no, my bad, not flies.
Bro, flies are disgusting. You can get diseases from accidentally eating them. I mean, it's generally low risk, but they can transmit like bacteria and parasites from waste and feces to humans.
Yeah, that's
including illnesses.
That's probably most bugs
like
too.
Salmonella, pretty much. And then the other one is Shigella, which is literally just dysentery. And it's highly contagious too. With as few as like 10 to 100 bacilli I think is what it's called, needed to cause the disease. And the symptoms usually appear like 1 to 2 days after exposure, and can include fever, diarrhea, which may be bloody or prolonged stomach pain, some nausea, some vomiting, abdominal cramps. Severity of the infection depends on the serotype and host factors like age and nutritional status. That's pretty crazy. Flies are disgusting. Long story short.
Speaking about our own horror stories to do with bugs, right? Why don't we go over some other horror stories, like the black-eyed children, eh?
I mean, I don't think that involves bugs. You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter. The point is, it's pretty terrifying. Have you heard about the story?
I have heard about them, but that's crazy, bro.
Yeah, I have too. I just haven't heard about the actual story about it.
Bro, they have like a freaking name. BEK's phenomenon. That's crazy.
What does that mean?
A urban legend involving, that stands for black-eyed children.
Oh.
Well, I don't know why it's K's. I don't know what's up with that, but that's gross.
Yeah, well, the story.
A urban legend involving reports of encounters with children, typically around 9 to 6. Bro, to 16? Well, I saw a 16-year-old with black eyes. It's getting my fist in his face. I'm sorry. That's crazy.
What if it was a 10-year-old?
Doesn't matter, bro. I'm sorry. I'm just closing the door on its face and then getting the cops to arrest that mofo.
Well, dude, could you imagine sitting... Hear me out. Imagine sitting in your car one night, like the guy Brian Berthel, a journalist from Texas. He was sitting in his car one night outside a movie theater when 2 boys, maybe 9 or 10, approached his window, and they asked for a ride home.
And the voices were calm, too calm.
He said he felt a wave of dread
Hello,
before
mister.
he even realized.
Can we get a ride home?
Who knows how they spoke to him, but yeah.
If it was calm, that's like sus, bro. I'm sorry. That's just extra sus. It's reports of, encounters with children, and they have entirely black eyes, and ask to be let into people's homes or cars. That's so specific, too. Like, why? You know what I mean?
Bro, Brian drove away, heart pounding, and swore something was not right, you know what I mean? He knew something was not right. I don't think he called the cops or anything. But anyways, yo, that's wild. Like, bro, who wants to... Imagine you and me coming out of the theaters, because we went to theaters a lot. You remember?
Yeah.
Before you left.
A lot. That case is when it first gained like widespread attention from journalist Brian Bethel, like you're saying.
Yeah.
Because of his account of interesting encounter. Like, that's crazy. There's theories about the entities, and they range from ghosts to demons or alien-human hybrids to simple pranks involving makeup or contacts. Which nowadays is super possible, but also that raises the question, because of being able to change your appearance like nowadays so easy, like you could just go and get some colored contacts.
You mean transgender?
Insanely hard to discern whether or not it's the actual phenomenon or just some kid playing a prank.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? If you just punch him in the face, you're not going to have a problem either way, huh? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and then you get charged with child abuse and 5 years in prison.
Yeah, no. I'm kidding, bro. I'm kidding. Like I said, just close the door in their face and...
But like you were saying, what if they were interdimensional beings, entities trying to cross over using childlike forms to gain our trust?
That's sus, bro. Even more sus, bro. Imagine just sitting in your... Okay, here's a scene. We just got out the movies. We just watched a really good movie. It was like, oh, man. And then we're like sitting in the car talking about it for a sec. And then all of a sudden, you look to the left. You're in the driver's seat and
you hear that.
You just see these 2 kids like knocking, but you don't actually see their hand come down as if they just knocked. You know what I mean? And then you see them staring at you and they just have black eyes. Like, bro, would you just immediately slam that thing in reverse?
But yeah, for real. Yes, I would literally start driving forward. And if they were in front of us, they will get ran over. even if it was a prank, because have you noticed the pranks nowadays? How it's just all illegal now?
To prank people?
Yeah, a prank like that will get you killed or arrested. So I mean,
Yeah, that's crazy,
with
bro.
a good lawyer on standby, yeah,
Oh, dude,
we're
that's
not
so
getting charged.
like disgusting. The children are described as having
Completely black eyes with no white or pupils.
that
Yeah,
is
almost as if they're staring
ugh,
into your soul. Literally, they're inside
sucking
of
up your
you.
soul.
They stole. They took it like the Flying Dutchman. Hey yo, speaking of our boy the Flying Dutchman,
Ugh.
how's he doing, Dave?
Typically,
No, I'm just kidding.
oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I don't
They
know.
typically knock on a door and approach a car. Okay, they typically knock on a door or approach a car and ask to come inside, often asking to use a phone or wait for their parents. Nah, bro, I'm sorry. You can't wait here. You can wait on the lawn. Ugh. Bro, what do their parents look like?
Yo, for real.
Their behavior, they may seem polite or lost at first, but witnesses often report feeling intense fear, a sense of dread, or a compulsion to invite them in. I wouldn't feel no compulsion to invite them in, bro. Look at their face. You kidding me?
Yeah. I like how everyone says
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
nowadays, don't judge people
Consequences.
by their looks or covers. Well, no, you kind of have to.
Consequences. Sometimes entire books are very obviously seen by the cover. Just saying. Bro,
Yeah.
apparently there's consequences to letting them in. According to the legend, it can lead to illness, bad luck, or even death.
Whoa.
Ugh.
They just straight up murder you somehow. Man, imagine a kid overpowering you. But then again, if they
crazy.
look like that, you damn well sure enough they probably have some supernatural powers.
Yeah, very chilling.
That's when
But
you
have no fear, son, because there's only one thing you should be afraid of, or someone, that is God. So,
Well, hey,
just saying,
speaking
man.
of that, that's when you pull out the holy cross, right? And you jab it into them. You like, be gone, spirit, and you just like flick it at them, you know, like be gone.
I'll banish
Get
you
out
in the
of here.
name of Jesus. And then, yeah, bam, hit them with the big smack, and they're gone, dude.
Yeah, dude, the Conjuring
Evil
movies.
vanquished.
Oh, yo, the Conjuring movies. Yo, those are so tight and baller and actually scary. Probably the most scariest horror film I've ever seen. Not gonna lie.
You're a kid, man.
Especially since they're all based on true stories that these
Well, yeah,
are
they're
real
based
people.
on quote-unquote true stories. But if you actually look into the quote-unquote true stories, they seem super fake. So, yeah, it's kind of hard to...
Well, at least I think
Yeah.
it was. Well, at least I
They're good
think it
movies,
was
though.
episode 2. It was probably Conjuring 2, where the spirit of the
They're in
grandpa.
London or something?
It
Yeah,
was it the
Bill?
grandpa that possessed his granddaughter, and then she was talking all demonic like, and they literally had the news station come out, and there's actual
Okay, so-
footage of that.
Even that one can be explained.
These teenage sisters believe they're haunted by a poltergeist.
I was going to ask the same question as I asked earlier. How many voices are there?
600.
600 voices.
I know the joke.
You gotta look at the entire thing. Like, that can be completely explained. I'm just saying, bro. It definitely can. However, very interesting. But if you actually look into all of Ed and Lorraine Warren's stuff, it's kind of you know what I mean? It's not as convincing as the movies might have you believe.
Well, hey, I just can't wait for
But
like
good
the
actors in good
Conjuring
movies,
5, you
so.
know? Can you believe they're already making a 5th one? The Conjuring Last Rites. Have you heard about that? Have you heard about this new Conjuring?
No, I haven't. It's time for me to go, though, man. It's definitely been nice chatting.
Well, basically, it's 1986 Pennsylvania to vanquish a demon from its family's home. That's the gist of it. Just like every single one of those movies. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, man.
You said it's
been
getting
good.
late for you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's been
see-
a good episode.
You see what I
Ladies
mean?
and
This is the problem with this studio room. Like we said before, it would be we can actually just do longer episodes and whatnot. But hey,
Be a lot
this,
easier to convene.
this was quite a spooky time. It probably wasn't really that spooky of an episode, but hey, y'all, happy
Flies are
Halloween.
gross.
Did you
Yeah.
say waggy woes?
No, I said flies are gross.
Well, that's those wordings are probably one of the same. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have a fantastic rest of your
Tune
nights.
in next time and we'll talk about Thanksgiving.